Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Power Podcast. Are you mocking me?
No.
It is your girl, Nicole, a.k.a. Relly, and I have two very beautiful ladies next to me. Sarah, with...
I don't want to talk about it,
little voice issue. It's okay. She's still here. And then we have Miss Liz,
Hello.
our special guest. Very excited to talk with you about your experience here. We were just talking before we started the episode that Liz started with us only in July.
It's crazy.
And to think how much you've accomplished in 6 months is insane. And I can't wait to talk more about it. So we're going to get right into this. As I mentioned, Liz, you started mid-July we talked on the phone, discovery call.
Yes.
And I remember really, really loving our call and enjoying just learning about you, what was important to you. You mentioned wanting, you want to be able to hike all the time. Doing the Mammoth?
Yeah, the Mammoth March.
Mammoth March,
yeah,
yes.
In Boston,
yes. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so we just decided, me and a friend of mine decided, hey, let's kick off this year with something and look forward to when we saw this Mammoth March. And it's a 20-mile walk or run. No one really ran, but through the woods, and we're like, oh, we love to walk, and this will give us something to look forward to and kind of train up to. So, so for about 8 weeks, every Sunday we walked up to the point of getting to 20 miles every week, and then we did our Mammoth March, and we made it, and it felt really good.
And remind me, what time of year was it that you did that?
Was
it in the spring?
Yeah, it was in the spring. I think it was March or April or May.
Got
something
it.
like that. Yeah.
And do you have plans to do it again?
So funny you should ask. We were just talking about that, whether we want to do it again. And I think not only for the event, but just the camaraderie of getting together beforehand, spending 6 to 8 hours with one of your really good friends every week, and just having that time and exercising is really kind of the point of it, I think, not at the actual events.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that you mentioned camaraderie. Camaraderie, I think, is how you phonetically pronounce it. You're right, I'm not. That was important to you as well, finding a facility that offered that, because you had said you had tried the open gym thing, you had tried at home, and those were the two big things that you were missing, is that human interaction. So when we started talking more about, kind of what it would look like for you starting here about I remember you were like, when do we start? And I was like, how about tomorrow? I think it was a couple of days later you came in for your consultation and movement screen with Ra, and then within the week.
We got it rolling.
Yeah.
She was in.
Yeah, that's what I love about Sarah. She's like, okay, we're done here. You made a decision. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So, and that I love that motivation and that energy, and honestly, I think the discussion with you first, Nicole, is actually what made me decide this is the place, because going through that discovery call, at first you're like, oh my God, what do they want to know about me?
You're like 45 minutes. What?
Yeah, and then but getting down to the bottom of it, and then afterwards, I'm like, you know what? They actually give a darn.
You could totally swear we didn't tell you that. You can say it. We totally give a fuck. Hell yeah.
They actually give a damn about what you're looking for, where you came from, where you want to go, and what your goals are. So I was like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Yeah. It's completely outside of what I've tried and quite frankly failed at. Not failed, but just didn't get to where I wanted to go.
It wasn't a good fit for you and what you were looking for and what you were needing. So talk to me a little bit more about, because we talked about it, I would love the world to know, kind of what frustrations were you feeling and thinking, and all of the things that are going on in your head that led you to, you found us online. You said you did an online search. So what led up to that?
You talk about frustration, and it's almost a little bit like insanity, right? You keep doing the same stuff over and over again and not getting the results, and then take a break and then do that same thing that doesn't work again. It's like, then finally you break through and be like, okay, this has got to change. Like, you cannot say you're going to go to an open gym, pay the money, and have the same motivation and same willpower, and then say, okay, this isn't working, and then go back home to your home gym, and maybe you have a treadmill or an elliptical, or maybe you like to walk, and say, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna go, and that lasts for like 2 weeks, and then you're like, no, I'm gonna go back to the open gym, and then you do that, and you waste your money, and then you do this cycle over and over again. So I was at to the point, and I think you could tell, like, yeah, I wanted to start this now because I didn't want to think about it anymore. And I knew that this cycle of insanity of things not working wasn't working anymore. And I think I made a decision then that, like, I'm not getting the results. I don't have anybody behind me pushing me, and that's what I needed.
Yeah. And you said, I'm pretty sure to an extent, those exact words of, I need to take action now. Like, I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of It's kind of like when we look in the fridge 3 times within 5 minutes expecting food to appear.
Yes.
It's exactly what you were describing.
Yeah. Where's the ice cream?
Literally,
right.
Where is
right.
the ice cream?
Like, literally, why is it not here? What am I missing? But it's the change in location when you're so between home and an open gym, you're essentially doing very similar things because you're on your own. And you said, I need that accountability. And we know very well accountability is one of our core values. So that is super important for us as coaches and, our team to help our clients with, because all of us, I mean, us included,
for sure.
Accountability is a huge thing. Being really aware of what it is, what and why you're seeking our help.
Yeah.
It's when we were talking and the more you were sharing, I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to absolutely love it here, and you're going to be such a great fit.
We're the right fit for her.
Yes. And as you got started, and talk to me about, when did you realize that this was going to work for you?
I think first of all, I did something completely different with Power than I have ever done anywhere, which is get personal training. And I've done the HIIT thing before, but it was more open groups. You didn't have anything that led up to that. You were kind of just thrown into a group. You're trying to figure out everything. You hurt afterwards because you don't know how the heck to do anything. You're totally intimidated from people that have been there forever. And all you're getting is constant criticism that you're not doing it right. So how are you supposed to do anything right if you're just sitting there and not having any training up to it?
Right.
So started working with Sarah just to get a lot of the basics down. And so I felt more comfortable in group and not feeling intimidated by all the exercises and the people in there. And because you walk in and you're like, oh my God, these people have been doing it forever. And I don't know what I'm doing. And so.
But you do.
But, well, you gradually do,
Yeah.
But working with her for several weeks and then coming back to her and saying, okay, I got this, and this, and I feel really good about it, but here's where I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And I think after, it was a few weeks, and then, like, I got out of group, and I'm like, I nailed it. I feel good. Nothing hurt, nothing ever hurt necessarily, but I just feel good. Like, I had a good workout, and I felt confident. And I think that's when I was like, yeah, this is my jam.
Yeah. And I remember your first group class was with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so excited because
Sarah,
everybody on our team, whenever they have a client who transitions from personal, that individualized training to group classes, we're constantly in communication. She told me, hey, Liz and I are working on this in sessions still, because you're continuing with one-on-one, even though you're kind of splitting, doing like a hybrid approach.
Yeah, the one thing that started out with Liz, I was like, she needs to slow down.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm like, I gave her speeding tickets. You guys give her speeding tickets. My girl needs to go slow. Give her tempos.
Yeah. And
now you're nailing it. Now she's aware when she goes fast. She's like, oh, gotta slow down. I'm like, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that repetition. And that's where, and I don't want to speak for you. It's like, were you aware of that before Sarah pointed it out.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. And if you go, and I'm probably aging myself here, but if you go to like step classes, like
Those still exist.
or like, any of those aerobics, it's like, how fast can you go? How fast can you go?
Yeah.
But you're not doing anything with your muscles. And, until you have that education and until you have, somebody standing there going, okay, you're not getting anything out of that. And it's not criticism. It's just, that's why you're not seeing results. And this is how we're going to get better results. You need to slow down. You need to have that muscle kind of like extend a little bit. You need the time, and what you're doing is great, but it's just not producing any results.
Right. It's taking it to the next level, taking what you already know and adding layers. So Sarah, I'm very interested to know, because I've never asked you, when you started working with Liz, like, what was the number one thing that stood out about her that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for her to like grow in this area or learn in this area?
There was quite a few different things. One of the things I loved about Liz is when you first came in, I'm like, okay, she's like me. We don't wear a lot of emotions on her face at first. And I get to know her, I'm like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with her. I love her so much. So that was fun. So like just growing our relationship was, again, it's always a perk to like get to know you guys more and understand more about her life and what she enjoys, what she doesn't enjoy. And then with exercise, again, the main thing that really stood out with Liz was she has understanding of movements. Can we make that muscle mind connection? Can I have you slow down and feel it where I would like you to feel it on, let's say, a row, right? Are you able to feel it in maybe the lat and where are you feeling it in your back? So having her make that connection was a game changer for her. And then watching her absolutely crush it together with her and I, and then transition into, the group setting. And then she is one where she's like, no, I still want to work with you. So she and I still get, again, like you were saying, that hybrid model. Watching her single leg work continue to improve was like amazing for me to see. So like I knew stability was a huge thing for her, and her strength balance, she was uneven, right? Would you agree with that?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so her left to right ratios. So we doubled down on that, and then now her single leg is like beautiful to watch, and it's slow, and I love it.
Yeah.
The progression has been just unbelievable. But until you have somebody really watching what you're doing and identify these opportunities, how would I know? I would have never known these things. But it was clear as day once we tried different things, and you could totally see where the opportunities were.
For sure.
I want to backpedal a little bit. There's a question that I wanted to ask that I didn't yet. It was in the beginning of, you had mentioned on our call that you're like, I'm in a transition in my life. You had a part-time second job.
Yep.
It was in the mental health field. So I was like, oh my gosh, her and Ra are going to connect even more. You're like, I just quit that because I need to prioritize myself. That was the most important thing for you. Yeah. Like, what led up to that point? I know we touched on it a little bit. For you to say, hey, I need more time on my schedule, so this is going to be sacrificed for me. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
I'd love to walk you through that, and I have an update to that. So
yes,
I love updates. This is a live update. I'm very excited.
I know, right?
Yeah,
like
live news, people.
It's like the news.
I love that you asked the question, because it's so funny how things, once you prioritize yourself, how other things kind of fall in place. Sorry about the banging. So you're absolutely right. Like, I came to a point where it was July, and I was like, I think I was still in pandemic mode.
I would agree.
So we were talking about that a lot.
It was
yeah.
like working from home. My day job was working from home,
Yes.
and I had all this time. So I was working out at home, and then also I took on like this part-time job in mental health that was really just holding peer support groups for addiction attendees, and that was really a passion of mine. And I loved it, and I did that for years. But what was happening is I was just sitting all day long at home, and not getting out, and not really taking care of myself. So, I called them, and I'm like, look, like I need a gym schedule. Like, I need to get out of my house. I need a change in what I'm doing for my workouts. and I've got to prioritize this. So I told them, like, I can't take any more meetings for now. They completely understood, and that's when I started working here on my workouts. And they called me back a few weeks later, and they're like, "We'll take you any way, like we can get you back.
Yeah.
Like, prioritize that. Prioritize your wellness there. But what does work for you? Is it something that we can work at? Maybe it's just, hey, maybe you can cover for people, or maybe it's earlier in the morning, or maybe it's later at night so you can have your gym in the morning." Like, they were willing to work with that, but this be my priority, not that.
That's awesome.
So actually,
That's
I'm
amazing.
back there doing it, but a lot less hours at my convenience, and so I'm kind of making everything work, but prioritizing this.
Love it.
I love that.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
That's good.
what does anything feel different coming back to it now that you're like, I'm in a good spot holistically with yourself?
Yes, because then I can share that. Because these are people that are trying to get their life back together.
Yes.
And they've prioritized something completely different. Maybe not in the same way that I did, but they prioritized just, checking out in whatever substance they were using. And, I kind of checked out too from a pandemic standpoint. I was kind of isolating, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's similarities to that. But when you can kind of walk the walk instead of just talking about wellness being an important part of transition in anything, and just saying, look, this is what happened. I prioritize my health. And they're like, that resonates with people, and also provides, a path for people to say, yeah, I've got to sit down and figure out what's right for me. And regardless of who, might be hurt by those decisions, it's about me being the best me that I can be. So, and sometimes that entails difficult decisions.
Of course.
And if they really value you, whatever it is, whether it's family, not spending as much time with family or at work, or whatever the case may be, to prioritize yourself, if you're really important, like, they'll figure out a way to help you prioritize yourself.
Oh my gosh, I love
Like,
that.
mic drop. Hello. That was amazing.
All right, podcast is ending.
Podcast, this is the
I'm just
episode,
kidding.
you guys.
I have just so many thoughts and questions. Is there any, without naming names or anything, anybody that you've worked with in your support groups that has specifically shared with you, oh my gosh, what you shared about your own journey has really changed my perspective, resonated? I know you said-
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. They're like, I haven't been doing that, and I can see that because I glow about it. I don't. I hold nothing back, and I'm not ashamed of it. Like, because I think sometimes we do, especially with women. Like, to prioritize ourselves, it's like, oh, you're not spending that much time with your kids, or oh, you're not at home cooking and cleaning. There are still some stereotypes, I would say. So women, I think, feel a little guilty. So for I think I hold a little bit more like inspiration for the woman that says, you know what? Instead of doing this with the kids, my husband or my partner can do that, and I'm gonna take that hour for myself. And I think that has inspired some people.
That's awesome. I love that. And as that, because it will happen more, please share.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Those are the types of things that we'd love to hear, is when you, almost unknowingly have influence, like positive influence to your circles too. And if there's people who you talk with and they're like, hey, I want to do what you do. We have an amazing team of coaches, one right here, who would love to work with them. And you have that experience personally, so you can speak to that and, help them come in feeling confident in the same way that you did once we talked on the phone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finding a different community too. I mean, this is kind of a community.
Absolutely.
And, to find like a home like that outside your home is important in getting
Yes.
out there,
Yeah.
and getting out of your comfort zone, I think is important in so many different aspects.
Oh,
here.
for sure.
Yeah. And, we say a lot of times, especially post-pandemic, this is a lot of people's third place. Home is first, work is second. And during the pandemic, places 1 and 2 were one and the same for
Yeah.
many, many people. So having that outside of the home safe space that you feel confident, you connect with the people that are there. You're there for similar reasons, although very individual. It's a good feeling knowing like, hey, I'm going to better myself, and I have a whole community of people also supporting me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I said in the beginning, that was really important for you to find a place that had that. When you were going through your sessions, in the beginning with Sarah, was there ever a time where you're like, I've been needing this for so long, or kind of what was going through your head, I guess, is a better question, as you went through each session? Was it different every time? Was it more of like rewriting your story, or not rewriting, but like continuing your story? Like, talk to me about your journey with Sarah.
You have good days and bad days at anything that you do, especially if it's something you're not familiar with. We always had a good day, but there were times where like, oh my God, like there are thoughts like, I can't believe how like weak I am in this part. And then you've got to break through that. You've got to kind of, so you get like a little down on yourself, but she would recognize that and, be like, okay, well, we're going to work on this, but, take a break if you need to take a break, or, I know this is hard, but, like, let's get through it together. And that's the big difference, I think, and not just, putting the hammer down and being like, why can't you do this or whatever. And I don't think any coach would do that, but I think that's the biggest difference, just having that, support there, recognizing like that I'm struggling, or if something's really too easy, like she'll pick up right away if it's too easy. She's like, okay.
So how's that feel?
Yeah.
It was good. Okay, I'm gonna add more weight.
Yeah.
She's like, good is not a good explanation.
Nope. They knew that. She
Even
knew
this
that.
morning, I was doing something. She's like, now it's 20. Because it was just too easy. And that, but that's fantastic. So you're constantly getting that little push that you need, but also that support when you're not feeling great about something. Because there's plenty of times where we could be like, oh, this is too hard, right? And we're uncomfortable, and it's not a great feeling. But getting through that and knowing that you can do it tomorrow. But there were also days where I'm like, yeah, nailed it. Yep. So totally. There are highs, there are lows for sure. But if you didn't have them, I would think that something's not right.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you wouldn't be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything that you were surprised to have received, learned, that you weren't expecting?
Totally. And honestly, it's been these last few weeks. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's just, my body's getting used to it, or maybe it's, we talked about some of the areas that really needed some more
attention.
Yeah. Thank you. And all of a sudden, like, I broke through those things, and like group was so much better for me. And I was like feeling like I was nailing a lot more exercises and just really feeling it where I was supposed to feel it, and just really great. So it's unexpected where it comes from. All of a sudden you're like, sometimes you're having your good days, bad days, you're struggling, you're really feeling a little tired after those, and then all of a sudden like you break through that, and it's like, holy crap, I feel really good after this group exercise. So yeah.
And I remember like a lot of our clients, the TRX was your favorite equipment piece to incorporate.
I have a name for it. It's not TRX.
Oh my God, you'll have to. I mean, if you're comfortable sharing it now, or she's like we'll save that for a different conversation.
No.
I what do you call the TRX, please?
Because I just wasn't getting it. I just wasn't getting it.
It's tough.
Period. And actually, the two of you, Nicole and group, and thank you for you are the best at just saying, okay, let's break it down. Let me show you, and this is right in group, and so that the next round, I can get it better.
Nail
And
it.
then, like, once I'm shown, and but TRX for some reason I need to be shown like 500 times. But the patience of the coaches are what's important, and that they are there, and they're not, I'm referring to some other gyms. The coaches aren't just spending all their time looking at themselves in the mirror. They're actually coaching,
Yes.
and making sure that you're doing it right. And if I have that confused look on my face, like Nicole's coming over, guys coming over,
Yeah.
okay, let's break it down, and picking that up. But then that transition, the following Wednesday or right after that, if I'm frustrated over something, I'm like, Sarah, I cannot do the
Yep.
TRX. Like, this
Yep.
is
And then I happen to, I'm like,
frustrating.
yes, she can.
But if I can't do something, like, I'm frustrated, but you can't, you just need to bring it up and work
Totally.
on it, and that's it. And now I'm like, I'm pretty good.
I feel like that analogy, just using the TRX as an example, is very much in line with your personal journey.
Oh, for sure.
You're super frustrated by
X.
not seeing, trying 10, the same thing 10 different ways and not being where you want to be. And then all of a sudden, Sarah comes in, power comes in, and, the
Give
being
you the
that may,
tools. Yeah.
brought us together, and aka Google.
Thank you, Google.
Yes. And, just provided the missing puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had and continue to have so many confident areas, and it's just like pulling them out and being like, Liz, you can do this. You can conquer the TRX. You are going to conquer the TRX and the things that are hard. Kind of what, since we're on that frustration line now, were there, and I know you mentioned open gym and being at home were the two primary things you tried, and refresh my memory, have you ever, I know you said personal training was new, have you ever tried like another organized like class type, talk to me about that experience, what you felt, what you were really like liking, missing, and how that's, how you feel differently here, like what's the biggest?
I think there's a big difference. When you're in a class of, like, because I've gone to, I don't want to
You can
name some
other
of these
places,
gyms, but when we go to other places and there's just a schedule of classes, and you attend or you don't, there's still no accountability there. You're just one of 20 or 25 people that are in that room, and there's no coaches. There is an instructor that's basically doing the class with you, and not focusing on how you're doing those exercises, not critiquing you, not giving you constructive criticism, and saying, your left leg needs some help.
Sarah's voice is in the back of
leaning,
your
or and that you have to be able to take that, because you're going to hurt yourself if that's not pointed out and corrected. And it was showing up on a few things. So those gyms and those situations can be great for people that maybe already know what they're doing, or maybe they don't care that they're doing it correctly. They just want to go through the motions, get their cardio, and go home and shower. That's great.
Yep.
But that doesn't produce results in for me. And again, still no real accountability. And I wasn't having any, I wasn't feeling good after those things. When I come here and I get out of group, I'm like, I feel like I've done something. I'm a little sore in some places, which is a good thing, but I feel like I accomplished something. Where these aerobic classes or whatever classes it is, you're not feeling that. You're like, oh, I just went through a motion. I did a transaction. Fantastic. Well, your jeans aren't going to fit any better after that. Good for you.
Yeah.
You went through a class. You check that off twice or 3 times a week. That's not, for me, not getting me anywhere.
And just listening to what you're saying, I have 2 things that really stuck out. The first was you made a distinct difference between instructor and coach.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me about that?
Huge. There's a huge difference. There's an instructor that can run a class, whether that's a HIIT class, whether that's an aerobic class, a step class, whatever it is, a spin class. But they're there to kind of motivate, perhaps, but they're doing the exercises with you, and they're not giving you individual attention. And again, maybe you want to be in the back of the class and not be seen, and that's okay for some people. Again, they just want to get some cardio out of it, have somebody guide them. You can do that on YouTube, sorry. But, you know, the difference between coming to Power with actual coaches, they actually are coaches. They don't just wear the name tag on the back. They are going around making sure that you're doing things, you know, some things that you're doing could cause you some harm. So if you're not doing something correctly, they'll just come over and really guide you through that exercise. And sometimes they, you know, you'll make contact with them and they're like, okay, you don't get it. It's okay. Like, let's break it down. Let's do this exercise. You should be feeling it here, here, and here. And even, you know, sometimes just putting a hand on your back going, you know, you got to squeeze between here, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, I got it, you know, and all of a sudden you're just really powering through that exercise. That's the difference. Also, this might seem really silly.
Nothing is silly.
But just sometimes, like, you nailed something, and like you or Jennifer or Guy was like, yeah, like you weren't getting it at first, and by the fourth round, it's like, yeah, you nailed that, and that feels good. You know, you feel good about yourself. You understand, like, somebody else is recognizing your growth, and that's a big deal. That's a coach in my mind.
I'm so happy that you shared that.
That's amazing.
I was watching your face, and you're just like,
I know I was. I'm literally melting in my seat, you guys. I'm like, oh my God, this is why I love her.
yeah. Well, and this is, you know, you being our head coach, like, that's what we want our
Huge,
coaches
so
to
be recognized.
be. Yes, and knowing that, and not saying that was never us. You know, we were for a while that facilitator of a class, and you know, it took a long time, and you know, guidance from our own coaches to say, hey, there's things that we need to shift, and you know, opportunities that we've been missing, and you know, a lot of in the past, I'd say 2 to 3 years, we've really shifted exactly as you're saying, like going from that purely motivational, which never would discount that, like
No,
you
it's
know,
important.
in you know, that's what a lot of us, I mean, ourselves included, need, is somebody there to support us, but really identifying how can we help this person individually, whether it's in one-on-one or in group, but like really be in tune and intentional with how we are guiding and coaching them, instead of just saying, yeah, you'll get it next time, and then walking away.
Yes.
You know, like, and I think you kind of alluded to that with your own past experience. There is a distinct difference, and we don't take that lightly when you say you have noticed that. So to hear that, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
What we have really taken the time to like perfect, in a sense, is, and you know, continue to work on that, for you to recognize that being here for 6 months is, I'm so proud of her, and
Team
really
effort.
And really our whole team.
Yeah,
Exactly.
team
You know,
The whole team.
you know,
for
Team
sure.
effort.
and you know, when Britt and I were talking about this, you know, making some of these changes, we're like, what we were doing before impacted so many people in a great way. How do we take that and bring it to the next level? And how we're doing it now, and exactly as you've experienced, your story is a testament to why it works. And I, again, so appreciate you sharing. Talk to me about more. I'm like, I want to know everything.
There is a big difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even, again, another silly thing, but just having some of the the coaches come in and be a participant in the class. You know, you might have the coach like running the meeting, but some of the other coaches are in there just doing their thing, and all of a sudden they're like on the same level as you. They're doing their thing, you know.
We're struggling with you.
Exactly.
But they're also they're walking that walk as well. They're not just there, you know, trying, you know, helping and providing some constructive criticism throughout the day, but they're also doing the classes as well. And that's encouraging too.
Definitely.
And just to see them kind of go through that and doing their own workout and kind of being, you know, one of the class. I think that's inspirational as well.
Yeah, well, it's because of you guys.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. The other thing that you had mentioned is, oh crap, I knew I was going to forget this. I was so excited too. I'll think of it. Have there? We've talked a lot about like the actual physical transformations and that you've noticed and seen. Is there anything mentally, emotionally that you've noticed, like you're like, oh my gosh, I never expected for me to feel, think, do things differently as a result of the action, prioritizing yourself?
Absolutely. Like just everyday movement, like just getting up from a certain space, or you're picking something up to like bring to the car, and you're just like, yeah, you know, it's like,
Look at me go.
you know, those groceries that used to feel like if you had more than 2 bags, you were going to break your arm. And now it's like a workout and you're like, yeah, I got this. I'll take another one, you know, and you're actually doing movements through your house, like a silly person. But I think there's a lot of little things as well. And sure, you've got like at least for me, like my body is totally changing. Just the way things fit, or I wear things differently, a little bit more confidently. So, I mean, those are things that you hope for, but don't always see. But I'm seeing it, you know what I mean? And like the definition in some of the things is exciting. It is. But there's some of the other things too, just how you move. Like even like unloading the dishwasher. Like you're now squatting down to get the plates.
Love
and
it.
I'm like,
Functional fitness, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Who am I? You know, but all of a sudden you have like that muscle memory, and it's like, no, don't use your back, you dummy. You know, and you know, you can fit a few steps in here. So there are some unexpected benefits from being here for sure.
I love that. Love it. And I'm sure that you've talked about this, maybe not directly, of like, hey, like when you're doing a farmer's carry, you're gonna be able to take all the groceries in one load, things like that. Like what we as kind of people in the gym setting, we're like, oh, we're going in to get a really good sweat, really good workout, feel good, and then leave. Like you said, very transactional. That was the word that you used, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's
perfect. Great metaphor.
Yes, and seeing and feeling how what you do here for your 1 hour of the day translates and compounds outside in everyday life. Those are the connections that we hope to instill in our clients, like totally indirectly. So the fact that you're like, I notice this, I love it. And your next Mammoth March is going to be podcast episode number 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will share with you also, as I was training for that Mammoth March, I was getting, and I shared this with you in the beginning, like I got some serious pain down my left leg, and it was really painful. And towards the end of my training for it, I was really concerned about whether or not I was going to finish the 20 miles, to be honest with you. Just because I was experiencing so much pain. But working with Sarah and just understanding how to roll out that muscle, it was just knotting up. That's all it was. But, you know, the thought that, you know, if I didn't come here and then backed off of that, or thought, oh, well, this isn't for me because I'm not treating it or strengthening it or understanding that muscle, you know, and how it works and what you need for it, is just just thinking that, maybe the typical person would have been like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm 44 years old. Like accept it.
Yeah.
Instead of really getting that education and working through it and be like, oh, all I need is a roller. And but that's part of the education.
I love it.
100%. Was that the first time that you had felt that type of pain doing activity?
Yeah.
How frustrating was that just in general to be like, I'm still young, because you are all of us, we're all very much young, and, thinking that could possibly hinder your life going forward if you didn't address it. Like, what did that?
It was so frustrating. And I think, I thought it was like just walking on concrete. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can only do a few miles. And that was concerning for me because I'm a huge walker. I'm a hiker. And I thought, if this pain is consistent, like, I don't want to have hip problems. I was making it more of a problem than it really was. It was simply just, knotting up a muscle that just needed some attention and, being prepared for it and just understanding it. So it was very frustrating, just because all those like things in the back of your head that wants to come out, like, well, you're getting older, you just can't do this anymore, or you're pushing yourself too much, or you have too big expectations, like all those cognitive distortions that go on.
Yeah.
But then you kind of like bring it up, and she's like, "Yeah, you just need to roll it out, you fool."
I didn't call you a fool. Wait a minute.
I'm exaggerating. She would never say that, but
well, maybe now I would. I'm like, what are you? I actually call her goof. What are you doing, you goof?
Yeah, she's like, "Why don't you try a roller?"
Like, yeah, let's just do this.
Let's do this, and then also in addition to that, the strengthening of that. Just now, I have no issues whatsoever, and I have a foam roller now in my house, and I keep it in my car. If I go, I just do that.
Let's talk about how you're going away to Florida. Tell them about what you're packing up with you.
Oh my God! Oh, this is a huge difference.
Yes, let's talk about this. Is a huge thing for her.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Huge deal for me to continue. When I started my work at home, one of my values was to get out of the Northeast for a little bit, and I wanted to continue that, but the sad part of it is I can't be here for 3 weeks, and this is not just brown nosing it. I swear to God, I want to make sure that I stay up to speed, maybe not to the point of a group class or working out with Sarah, but at least continuing my workouts. So literally I have a bin that's going with me of weight equipment, and I'm going to share it with Sarah and just be like, give me some workout, plan. This is what I have. I've got bands with me, different kinds of bands. I've got 25s coming in the mail today.
Love it.
I've got 15s. I've got, and I just want to make sure that that's a part of this, vacation, if you will, but I'm also working from there, going down to Florida for a few weeks, but I just want to make sure that that's in the plan, and that I'm just not taking 3 weeks off and then coming back and be like, oh, this is tough again,
Yeah.
I want to continue that, and that was never.
I was going to ask, did you
Yeah.
ever think that you would be packing a bin full of weights? And are you driving or flying? Driving.
I'm driving.
Driving.
Yeah, I'm driving.
Yeah.
So no, that would never probably be on in the bag. No, I'd be like, 3 weeks off. Yes, I deserve it. All those things that are excuses that come in our minds. Be like, no, this is a good time to have some time off. No, I don't want to resort back to a couple months ago. I want to continue.
Yeah, love that. And you're making it a part of your day, not your whole day. And that's with working with Sarah and any of our coaches, if our clients go away, and obviously she programs specifically for you, so she is going to be, I know that she will, even if it was not a, hey, I want this or I need this, she would be like, hey, you're going away, here's the things that we still need to continue to work on. Our coaches are so good with that, because like you said, your progress and your goals don't stop because you're going away on vacation, whether it's a week. If it's a week and we've had clients who are like, oh, I'm going to Europe for a week. I'm like, amazing. You're going to walk so much.
Exactly. Just the walking.
That, yes.
Yep.
And, something as simple as that, between walking and stairs. I mean, think about stairs is all step ups.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, how can we turn our brains around in the way of, yes, I can incorporate this without needing to go overboard or find somewhere down in Florida. You are so confident in what you can do on your own that gives Sarah a peace of mind of,
Oh, for sure.
I'm helping her get to that point of you have that freedom of education, understanding, and movement. So when you come back from Florida, we're going to be ready for you.
Oh, yes.
And you're going
know.
to show us what you've been doing.
Yeah, the last week I'm going to be hitting it really hard to come back. But that's exciting. It's exciting that it's even in my agenda, for the next 3 weeks. And it's like seriously a big priority for me.
Yeah.
Like I told her like a week ago, I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing my stuff. Like I just need some exercises over the next 3 weeks. And she will.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I'm waiting for my pictures.
Yes. I have a couple of things coming in today.
Beautiful.
Because I just want to give her what equipment
Here's the
I have,
scope.
and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But that would have never happened before.
And I love that it is.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This trip, and you've gone to Florida before, right?
I go to different places.
Okay. So
just
this
to
time it's
visit
Florida.
different places
I
for
love
like a month and like just get out of here for a month.
Yeah.
Now that I have the flexibility and ability to work from somewhere else,
Yeah.
it's just get out of my house and go
Totally, I
somewhere
love
new.
it.
And you can hear Sarah. I also struggle with sinuses and allergies. So for me to go south a little bit just to give myself some relief is also helpful.
Absolutely.
But I definitely have done that over the past couple of years, and never was it, how can I prepare for my health and wellness while I'm there? Never, ever. Especially with the work, I'll be like, I'll walk enough, and then that'll be good enough. It was always, that'll be good enough, and it's not good enough anymore.
Love it.
That's a huge mindset shift.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yes, like I said, podcast episode, follow-up episode is going to be hearing all about your trip and how, how you took what you learned and applied it yourself. Because that's very much your mantra is taking action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was, you were very, very clear when we were talking of, I need to take action now because I haven't for way too long.
Yes.
So that goes right into your trip to Florida.
Yeah, once I make that, sometimes it takes too long to make that decision, but once I make the decision, then it's like, there's no going back.
Yeah, you decided it's important enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, we know that the timing is never going to be perfect. And like you said, unless you made a change to make yourself available in a sense, time-wise, to do those things, then.
But it's also like I've built up something here too, and I've put a lot of time and effort and strength and sweat and maybe not tears, but
I don't think we've got tears yet.
tears.
Maybe we'll strive for that soon.
But I just don't you don't want to go back from that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at. Like I don't want to go backwards. Like I've worked too hard, and Sarah's worked too hard.
You're doing all the work.
To get me to where I am. I just don't want to go backwards. That's all.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's important.
you won't with the
No.
total shift of mindset.
Absolutely not.
There's not even a chance.
No,
Yeah.
sure, there'll be moments like we all talk about. We all have the moments of kind of falling back into the old ways, but you're reflect on look at where I've came from, where I'm at right now. I love this feeling.
Yeah.
Get right back on it.
Yes.
Even from allergies or sinuses, right? There's days where we've had to cancel. She's like, I just can't do it. She's aware of her body. She's like, that's not the right thing for me right now. We pick her right back up like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
There's points where you have to say uncle because you're going to be, halfway passing out with sinus issues, and I think you struggle with them too.
I do. Yep.
And when you're getting a sinus infection, I'm going to pass out if I start working out.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to anybody, and you got to recover. I mean, that's part of
Absolutely.
power.
Yeah.
You have to recover, and if you don't know where that line is, then you need more awareness of yourself.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say you're aware of your body's capacity and just yourself as a whole being, your capacity of, if I try and cross that line, and push through, how much worse might I feel? And we don't know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
However, knowing where we need to say, Uncle, I think you said draw the line, that's the most important, because then hey, I'm nearing this. Work is super stressful, and it's the holiday season, so we're preparing for all these things that you're preparing to go away for 3 weeks. And Mother Nature is just not happy with me right now, so she's going to make my sinuses just a living hell. If I try to add another workout on top of that, I might hurt myself, or I might feel worse because my body's already trying to fight off an infection of whatever sort. So that awareness is huge too.
And how much energy you need to be in here, and I think that's important. Like,
absolutely.
If you're not there, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah.
You're just setting yourself up for injury, I think. Not that anything's that difficult, but you need a certain amount of energy to get through a group class.
Absolutely. You hear that?
And for Sarah,
it's not
double.
difficult.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, trust me. I'm like, okay, Liz, I'm hearing you. Okay. I'm going to get you. Don't you worry.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, thank you for
Yes,
sharing
thank
everything
you.
that you did. I know that this podcast is going to resonate with so many people.
Totally.
And if you're a listener and this is resonating with you, and Liz's story is resonating with you, please let us know, whether it's, reaching out, email, Instagram,
All the way areas.
comment on our, YouTube, whatever, all the things, all the socials. We love hearing feedback, and, especially when we have our clients sharing their stories,
Yes.
we love to share feedback with you, because it's important to know how much you're influencing other people, even if you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you for the time and effort from you two and the rest of the coaches. It's been wonderful, and I love being here.
Yeah, we love
Love
having
having
you here.
you.
Yes. Well, to all of our listeners, until next time, power to the people.